I went and found myself some sour grass, got a nice mix. I think the best edible part of sour grass is actually the leaves if you're making cooking with it, but good news is all parts of it are edible. And if you are foraging it, I would recommend to pick it from the roots so it doesn't grow back. So you know, it is invasive and you want some of the natural ecosystems to take root instead of oxalis. But yeah, I actually found it out in Manzanita. If you are foraging out here, do be careful. There are a lot of native protected species in the area. And you want to be conscientious of the reserve protections. But yeah, I'm going to take this home and cook it up and eat it. All right, now that we've gotten back to the house, I've went ahead and selected our ingredients for you, and I'll go ahead and show you what you guys will need to make this dish. So of course we have our foraged sour grass that we have separated between leaves and stems and flowers. And then I actually gathered some fresh basil that I had laying around, which will make a great addition to our pasta. Any olive oil or any other cooking oil that you want, go ahead and use that. Any type of pasta, I chose this one. You can either make pesto at home or use a pre-made jar like so. This is optional, but shredded Parmesan for topping. And then you will need a cutting board and a pan to boil the water and pasta in. And if you want to add a protein source, you can add chicken or tofu or whatever to your liking, but I'm just going to stick to the pasta. Let the sour grass be the main flavor. So to start with, we are just going to put some water on the stove to boil. It doesn't matter, it can be distilled or not, we're boiling it anyways, so. Alright, and now while we wait for the water to boil, we are going to prep our herbs. So, usually what I would do is just finely chop your leaves and then incorporate the basil into that mess. And I'm gonna leave these stems out for now because I'm not sure if I'm gonna incorporate them or not. All right, once that sour grass looks like that, it should be done. Now onto the basil. All right, and once that basil looks like that, should be ready. So go ahead and incorporate your chopped greens with the 1:1 ratio into a bowl. And then we are going to add some olive oil into that mixture just to let the juices incorporate with each other. That should be about good. Give it a nice stir. If you're happy with this consistency, go ahead and incorporate it with your other jar of pesto, but I'm gonna blend it out so it's a little bit more smoother. Once it comes out like this, go ahead and pour it back into the cup and then combine the rest of the pesto that you're using with it. All right, the pesto's looking good. Now after our pasta's done, we're gonna drain it, save a tiny bit of the pasta water and add this sauce in with the pasta and a tiny bit of pasta water. And we'll be good. Once that water comes to a boil, go ahead and add your pasta into the pan. Make sure that water is completely covering the pasta. Stir occasionally and let that boil for about 9-ish minutes, depending on how much pasta you have. You might need to decrease or increase. All right, I went ahead and put on an apron just because I want to avoid a mess. But now that the pasta's done, we are going to drain out the water. However, I just want to note that you want to save a little bit of the pasta water for future use in the sauce, because the starch in the water actually helps make the sauce stick. So that is enough water. I'm just reusing the jar that was originally for pesto. And then we can pour the rest out. Go ahead, once you've drained your pasta, go ahead and take the sauce that we made in this bowl and just pour it out into that. Don't forget to add a little bit of that pasta water back into your sauce. Just a splash will do, not too much. Go ahead and stir to incorporate into onto the pasta. Already looking good. Okay, now it's nice and incorporated. Go ahead and serve out your dish. Okay, now that we have our beautiful bowl of pasta in front of us, we are going to garnish it with some delicious Parmesan cheese, a little bit of fresh basil, and optional is some of the flowers from sourgrass, because those are actually edible and they're pretty. So go ahead and take your cheese and put as much as you want on it. I am a sucker for cheese, so I like a lot of cheese, but it's up to you. And if you're vegan, you can sub this out for a vegan cheese alternative. All right, next up to garnish after you're done with putting on the cheese that you want in is some fresh basil leaves. Just put them right on top. I like to make it pretty. And then lastly, I'm gonna use some of the flowers from our sourgrass earlier, these to garnish our beautiful pasta. And in the end, it should look like that. Happy eating. Bon appetit.